Welcome to Surviving Roots, the podcast where we navigate the messy, beautiful work of healing and growth. I'm your host, Cari Fund, and this is your space to breathe, reflect, and find strength. Whether you're breaking free from old patterns, healing from loss, or rebuilding your story one small step at a time, you're in the right place. So take a deep breath, give yourself this time, and let's uncover the tools to move forward with courage. This podcast is for you. Dr. Sherrie Campbell is a licensed psychologist with over 2 decades of clinical experience and a nationally recognized expert on one of the hardest, most stigmatized subjects there is, surviving and walking away from toxic family. She's the author of so many books that you'll just have to go on Amazon because there's a whole list. Hello, Dr. Sherrie. Welcome back to Surviving Roots.
Thank you. You're my favorite. I love being on your show. I just love you. So anyone who knows you is so lucky. And I'm glad.
Ditto. I mean, honestly, I've said this before. If I could go back to the Cari that was reading one of your books for the first time years ago and would have known that one day I would be chatting with you and connected with you and calling you a dear friend, like I would re-sign up for...
I was trying to get my dog on the couch.
This is like one of the best podcast chats I have ever had. You're on that engagement high.
I just tipped over. I was trying to sneak and get my dog so she wouldn't cry. Fell over.
Do you want to start over or do you want to keep going?
Just keep going. I don't care if you even air it. I really don't.
My God. This has been one of the most entertaining, most amazing podcast episodes I've ever recorded. You are absolutely my favorite. What was she doing in the floor?
And not only that, but I'm wearing pajama bottoms with a nice top just to top it off. When I tell people that I'm like Chrissy from Three's Company, they don't really get that I'm actually, I just fell over in the middle of a podcast. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm literally fine. I'm fine.
Are you okay? I mean, literally, This is the perfect example of you are just a authentic, real human being. Don't be fooled that you're some expert, amazing author. You've also lived this stuff and you are an amazing mother and you have a great personality and you just laughed your way back into your chair.
Just laugh. If I don't, because I'm the dumbest smart person that you will ever meet in your life. I actually put that in my TED Talk application.
Oh my gosh.
To be honest, I'm the dumbest smart person you'll ever meet because I do shit like fall over in a chair on a podcast. Okay, so I'm fine. You don't need to take it out. I'm fine.
Okay,
my dog's fine. So we're all fine. God.
They're looking at you don't do that again. Well,
am I going to be sore later?
Oh my God. Well, this is the third time's a charm. I love this. The first time you were on here, we talked about cutting ties with toxic family. The second time we went deeper with the mother wound around Mother's Day. And today, when we're not falling out of our seats, we are going to talk about your latest book, which, by the way, huge congratulations on You Are Home. This is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh. We're going to dive right in. You ready?
I am so ready and I will stay seated.
Okay. Well, before we talk about the book, I want to, I don't think I've ever asked you this on the previous 2 times you've been on the podcast. I want to start where so much of your work begins with survival. This is called Surviving Roots, and what you have survived and when did you know you would turn all of this pain into this potential that you have?
Oh my gosh, I never visioned this for myself at all. I was just in Canada actually with the Academy of Self-Help and we filmed a 3-day documentary. And after about 15 hours of just being filmed, I was in such a raw place. And I'll send you that link. But watching me watch me as a third party, and it's only just a little scratch of what I went through actually, right, in this interview. But I forget how much I went through at times. I forget. I think maybe the psyche does have to numb a little bit to just keep moving forward, but I really forget. And I didn't have, how people say, I really lost my self-worth. I never had any worth to lose. And that's something that I think over that weekend of doing the documentary. So I never had a thought of myself that could ever get here to do this. And I started writing by a fluke. I had a client when I was in my residencies that I knew I wanted to help people, My PhD taught me nothing about toxic family. It's not a topic, or at least 30 years ago, it wasn't a topic.
Yeah.
Family systems was sort of as deep as anything would get. So I do feel like I was working with this kid and he wrote songs, and I gave him lots of homework to write his songs, and he'd come in and he'd play his guitar, and that's kind of how I got to know him. He always felt safer behind a guitar. So he challenged me to write a song. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, you just saw me tip over in my chair. Like, I don't know that I'm a songwriter. But 12 days later, I had a full book of poetry, and I had never to that point written poetry ever,
Oh my
ever.
God.
And I have it. And I self-published that book, and that's a book I'm going to rework and put out in many years from now, because I want to rework it in a very different way. But at that point, I knew I could write, and I sat on that for a long time because my family was still in my life. I sent it to a family that was very helpful in my growth, that was also close to my mom, and they were very supportive of the book. But that book ended my relationships with my family.
Okay.
That is that book. So at that point, I'd had this feeling. I'd always written in a journal since I was 12. I just didn't see myself as a writer. I saw myself as a journaler. So if
Mhm.
anyone listening, you're both, like if you wanted to become a runner, you might be like, I don't know, I can't run. Everyone can run. You have to
Mhm.
become a runner. I became a writer from being a journaler.
Wow.
Um, and I avidly journal today. It's the only way I can get things out. And they somehow just turned into books. Sometimes I feel like the books come to me.
Mhm.
I haven't had a book that's been hard to write yet.
So that's why you can write so many books. That's amazing. Because I always
Yeah.
wonder, like, how do you do it all?
Kind of like the kid that had his guitar.
Mhm.
He needed that, maybe that barrier or that portal, however you want to look at it. I notice in some of the singing shows that someone who's really used to guitar, the coaches on those shows will say, try to sing without it. And you can tell that they're like, "Ugh," so I think my journals that became books, those were my portals to writing. And I wasn't great at speaking because my voice was so shut down as a child and dismissed that I had to put it somewhere. And so I put it into that. And somehow it turned into all of this, which I
That's
didn't intend for, which is wild.
that is wild because you have written so many books on toxic family and estrangement. So I have to ask you, why this book and why now? What does You Are Home do that your earlier books didn't?
To be honest, I wish I would have waited to put this out.
Really?
I wish I would have waited until the next book is coming, which that's a surprise. But because this book is hands down, I'm madly in love with this book. I love my other books, but I'm madly in love. This is all about the hows. My other books really did well to define the problems. I gave some skill sets in terms of how you can do certain things, how to handle middlemen in the family, people who still talk to your family that also talk to you. Like, all those skills are in those other books. But this book takes you down. I'm going to use your metaphor, to your roots, to your core pain. And I created this healing journey because I've started to recognize people coming to me from other therapists. They weren't getting any help. They were getting judged. They were feeling pressured to have contact. They were feeling all these things. And I'm like, that's not helpful. It's doubling the dose of their pain rather than providing any type of antidote. So I wanted to give people almost like a yellow brick road. I love The Wizard of Oz because it's like a whole journey down this yellow brick road. This is similar. It's a journey through a house, but it's the journey through you because you're the house. And
Yes.
there's an outside world that you interact with that affects your inside world constantly. And you're traveling up and down through floors, but really getting to know yourself. One of the biggest compliments I get from this book is I didn't realize how much of my pain I wasn't responsible for,
Yeah.
that it wasn't my fault. And that to me is that human being has now been set free from
Yeah.
holding on to stuff, carrying emotional baggage that was never theirs to carry. And I
I
love
think
that.
that is so powerful. And with everyone listening, you got to just sit there for a second, really let that sink in because I feel like it's such a defining moment that it's sort of like can be the breaking point of having someone go into healing rather than staying stuck in the pain, that realization.
You're a writer too, right? So you know that sometimes what's happening in your mind is very difficult to translate to the paper. That when you read it, it's not manifesting the same way as it sounds in your mind. right? So then you have this dichotomy of trying to mold the painting, or mold the sculpture in front of you to really get it
Mhm.
to be what you want. The reviews on this book show me that this is landing exactly as I had intended. And this
I
is
love
my first book that I feel has landed. People are calling it magical. People are telling me how hard they cried their eyes out with, because I have housework, right?
Yeah.
Creatively, you have housework in every chapter. So I wanted to break it down because I think these concepts are so overwhelming that we've become paralyzed to do the work. We want to, but we can't get past the overwhelm. So I give very bite-sized, small little steps down to the point of describing you're going to go into the basement now. You're going to go down a staircase. You're going to turn on a light. I make everything safe for the reader. And that time I didn't fall over. I make everything safe for the reader so that I wrote it so you would feel like I was with you.
Yeah.
That you have a homeowner's manual. You're not alone. So many times in my pain, I'm like, oh my God, no one ever has given anyone permission to go no contact with family in any of the books I've read. And I've read, at that point I was young, but I'd read every book out there
Yeah.
on toxic family. And so there was no manual for me.
Yeah.
So I lived it. And this is the manual of writing it. And so
Yeah.
now everyone, these are the footprints in the snow in front of you. You've got this. If plan A doesn't go well, I got plan B covered,
Yeah.
you know, so that you feel completely safe and you've got a guide. You're not wandering around on your own in your pain with all these monsters and haunting memories and ghosts and things like that, just taking you out of your healing.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that about your writing. I've read all of your books. This is one of my favorites. Your writing, it's like you are walking on the journey right along, right beside the reader, whether that reader is on their first step or their millionth step or somewhere in between. Like this book, you find your place in this book. It is heart opening and heartbreaking at the same time. But I did feel you right there along with me with your words. And I loved the metaphor of the house so much because, like you said, there's so much information coming at us. There is so much work to do. Where do we begin to even start to heal? Or is it boundaries? Is it this? Is it whatever? This was not overwhelming. The metaphor literally allowed me to go through from the basement, the ground floor, the middle floor, the top floor. Like you allow the reader really to keep the information and the words, whether they're crying or like, laughing at the idea of like what's
Right.
happened to them,
Yeah.
stay present in the book because it is
And you
so
can
well
do
written and
both,
so well.
right? It's like you
Yeah.
can cry and laugh. I have a reader who sent me a photo. She's hugging the book. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you what that did to my heart. And other people, for example, made things like this. They took their inner child.
Oh my gosh.
They took a photo of them of a child and they posted it with that. And they're sending these things to me. What
Oh my
I
god.
wanted is I wanted to welcome you home to yourself again. And that was the intent of this book, was to do that. And I don't know how I did that, but it landed. I mean, look at this one, another one.
That is amazing. How does that make you feel?
Just so like I feel like it's indescribable. Because this is like my baby. So to think
Mhm.
that my baby is doing exactly what I would have wanted this book to do, and it's bringing people to their inner child. Because I go about inner child work a lot different because I felt it was sort of woo woo and obtuse for me when I was going through it. I'm talking to an empty chair, pretending my inner child. I'm like, I just kind of feel schizophrenic. So that doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm talking to nobody. That doesn't make me feel sane. It kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. So I do a lot of writing exercises, right? You write a letter and your inner child writes you back. And I ask if you can't get in touch just to grab a picture of your inner child. And there are so many of them that a woman did like a whole thing where it's her as an adult, her as a middle schooler, and her as a child, and wrote me this amazing thing. Look at this, the hug.
Oh my gosh.
That to me is like the intent of this book was to bring them to loving themselves,
Mhm.
to having compassion for themselves. So when I see, like I get goosies when I see these things. No other book have I gotten this type of feedback, is I'm bringing them to love,
Yeah.
self-love. And for
Yeah.
people like us, when someone says love yourself, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me get on that because I know love pretty well because I was so loved. If you were never loved by your parents, those are the people that teach you if you're lovable or not. So to just tell someone like, oh, you should love yourself. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
To see that, it's almost like I was able to introduce them to love today to help
Yeah.
them bring to the broken parts that need
Yeah.
it.
So well said. And that actually leads me into something I wanted to ask you because I feel like I read something where you described so many survivors as living with a feeling of emotional homelessness and feeling unloved, unseen, disconnected, even in adulthood. Can you talk about what that actually feels like day to day, like how someone starts to recognize it in themselves?
I was living in a house full of people, right? That's why in this book you reclaim home. You take it back. You have to get the title to your property. It is yours. I was living in a home where I was already estranged. I never had connection. All I did as an adult was name it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's the abuse that we take in this space from rejected parents, but I was never connected to be estranged. All I did in my adult life is I just gave it a name and I made a decision. I was always estranged. It's not new. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen at no contact. So I was always in a home, but I was an orphan in that home. I was lonely. I was crying. I was sad. I was scared. And I was most often told to go to my room and get away and go away and stop crying. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
All of those things. So I was emotionally homeless. I had a home. I had a box with people I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it. Well, one of the lines stopped me where you say, "You are the one you've been waiting for." And I feel like that line really allows people to look at the idea of we have the power. We've always had the power. We just didn't know it because we weren't taught anything. We didn't even know we had worth. You know what I mean? So you say you are the one you've been waiting for. For someone who has spent their whole life looking for safety and belonging outside of themselves, what does it actually mean to find it within?
I think that there's a sense of groundedness that you have. There's a ground floor in the house. But I had to really come for little Sherrie. I had to really come for her. I had to come get her. Thank God that she was as rebellious as she was because she pestered the hell out of me until I woke up and listened to her. I was so busy trying to deny what was happening to me to stay connected to them that
Mhm.
I was sacrificing, my inner child all the time because I couldn't listen to her because I still needed food, home, and shelter. She's just loud. So she would get under my skin and then I would act out. And then, so I had a very hateful relationship with that part of me because I thought she's the reason I'm not loved.
Mhm.
Needs too much. She cries too much. She's too angry. She's too rebellious. I was none of those things. I was trying to have a voice. It just took me 4.5 decades to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I recognized that there was this just really broken piece. And I don't love the concept of reparenting. I have written about it because I have struggled to find a replacement term
Mhm.
for I have recently renamed no contact protective estrangement.
Great.
Okay, I've renamed it. And I'm going to be teaching CEU courses now for a really huge company called PESI that we get our continuing education through. It's going to be on estrangement. I start in December, which is
Wow.
a huge, huge
Congratulations.
compliment that I never thought that I would have that opportunity. So that's very exciting. So after Oprah's show came out, I got real creative there and I decided there's actually 6 or 7 types of estrangement, right? But I was estranged from within.
Mhm.
I was not really allowed to love myself. Recognize now that they wanted to keep me small so that I could stay in that scapegoat role.
Mhm.
So I think that I had to come for me, but to do that, I had to leave them.
Yeah.
I chose
Yeah.
me over them. I
Yeah.
chose her. I chose little Sherrie. I chose my health. I chose my happiness. I wanted a shot at
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah. I think that's so important what you just said because so many people say, well, how is estrangement the last choice? Did you communicate? Did they
God.
know what they did? And it's so interesting me. Honestly, sometimes I look at estrangement and it's not really a choice. There was nothing left to choose. So it was what was given to you. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just one of the hardest truths. Let's pause for a second regarding the book. What do you think about when someone says this is a trend? Because I'm 48 and I mean, I've been estranged since I was 31 and I started minimizing my contact at the age of 14. And I grew up in a small town in West Virginia with one stoplight and 3,000 people. So there was no social media. There were no hashtags. We weren't following anything. I lived on a farm with horses. So I don't know how little me saw this trend occurring that was going to start in 2025 or 6. But what do you say when they're like, this is just a trend? You are poisoning and breaking up families. You are wrong. You are evil. What do you say?
It's called mentally ill.
Ugh.
And then she said that I was a stupid ass, dumb motherfucker, fake face person. I have it memorized because it was so iconic. I'm
It
like,
is
that's no commas, right? That's iconic. Like, fake face person. Like, that's my new hashtag now, FFP. So I looked her up because she did that through my contact me, titled the email Sick Fuck That I'm Ruining Families. I had one the other day. Some lady wrote me some huge novel, how she's crying her eyes out, and I've ruined her life. And I block them. I've not met you. I don't know you. If your
Yeah.
kids have found me, yay for them. You should
Yeah.
maybe look at it and apologize. Is it a trend? I mean, I just think it's so funny that no one would ever want this. I mean, it's like, I do think, to be fair to culture, cancel culture is mixed up right now
Yeah.
with no contact. No contact is a decision that's made that you never go back on.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is just a new name for the silent treatment. My mom canceled me my whole life. So
Yeah.
when you're canceling somebody, you're wanting a reaction or a result. The last thing that you want when you go no contact is a reaction or a result. You're really wanting this to go away so that you can have peace. They're
Yeah.
very different. It is talked about. I am the first expert to put it into the literature. I'm not the first. I didn't make up the term.
Mhm.
I just am the first to place it in the family system.
Yeah.
Because it's totally fine to do with friends. It's totally fine to do with romantic partners. It's totally fine to do with bosses, colleagues. I did not understand why it wasn't okay to do it with family. When my family cut me off, they gave me the silent treatment, and this time I didn't mend the fence, right?
Yeah.
But because it's talked about in social media and we get taken in on a whole, I tell people sometimes it's shocking to me that you think a 60-second video is going to cover all aspects of any topic.
Yeah.
Perhaps you should take that into consideration before writing a response like this.
Yeah.
A 60-second
100%.
video. But
100%.
that's our culture today. So I think it's very easy to see one video instead of getting into a therapy office and doing the work. Because if
Mhm.
you're in therapy and you're doing the work, those videos will mean something completely different to you.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I just think it's bullshit. I just think it's talked about more because social media has been invented and we can have a space for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, if healing is a trend, that would be one of the best trends. Let's go. I mean,
You
we
know, the
can
whole
I mean,
goal that I was hoping when I put no contact into the literature as an expert was that eventually it would end no contact
yeah.
because we would stop that generational cycle from going down. We would produce these healthier families that would never have to go through what we do. So the whole point of going no contact is to prevent anyone else from ever having to do it.
Yeah.
Because we
100%.
break the cycle. Why are we breaking a cycle? To stop anyone from having to reach a point of having to do this. Do you think it's fun going alone at life? It's not.
Yeah.
I'm newly engaged, but I have been a single mom since I was 36 years old and I'm 55.
Yeah.
No family since 45 on. You
Yeah.
think that's easy?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's lonely. It's hard. There's no fallback. There's no call you can make if you're scared about something that's happening with your kids. And people will say, well, it's your fault. You went no contact. No, no, no. I stopped being abused. Why don't
Yeah.
we look at it like that? I didn't
Yeah.
go no contact. I stopped my abuse.
Yeah. That's
How about that?
that's actually that's amazing that you just said that.
I need to
That's
make a video
what
on
it
that.
is.
Gotta do that. Gotta do that
Yeah.
this week. That's
I mean, honestly, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, you got to write that down.
right now, girl. That's going down.
Well, let me tell you something. The foundation chapters of You Are Home really hit hard for me. And for someone that's listening that's just starting the renovation, where do you tell them to begin?
That's the thing I love about the book. I think you have to begin by working through the anticipatory anxiety. So in the book, basically there's a basement. And what do we all learn about basements? Don't go down there alone. There's scary things. There could be murderers, spiders, who
You're
God knows what's down
yeah.
there. Never go at that alone, right? So before you go in there, there's this overwhelm like, well, how is this going to make me any better? How
Yeah.
is going down there and looking through all my shit that I've already known I've been through going to make me any better? Well, because you've been warned not to look at it.
Yeah.
That what's in your basement, you didn't do to you. And so I make it very clear, why is all their stuff in their basement? Well, because they want to avoid exposure. They can't have that in their house. You're little, they can scare you from going into the basement. Got to keep all your secrets down there. You're keeping their secrets. That's like a mold in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
So I think you work through the overwhelm of the idea of going in and really looking at your collective pain rather than one pain at a time.
Mhm.
I encourage many breaks. I make sure that I give the housework in a very simple, safe way. It's bringing all of my readers to themselves, to tears, to all of that. So, how does it make it better? You clean the basement, you clear the clutter, you get the mold out,
Yeah.
right? So that you can be grounded, so that you can have a life that's not encumbered by how healthy can you be with black mold in your house?
Yeah.
You have to look at it like that.
Yeah. I love this home metaphor so much. I really do. One thing I love talking to you about is boundaries because what do you think most people misunderstand about setting them, especially with family? Because there's a difference between setting them from a place of strength or guilt.
I think both.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when we all have this strange, like in the beginning, I talk about like you're born to this house and the people on your porch are there not by choice, but by circumstance. You're a baby, right? I don't know anyone who has set boundaries on their family who also didn't somehow feel guilty too.
Yeah.
But it takes tremendous strength. It can only come from strength to set a boundary like that. And the guilt becomes less relevant. And then I think you go through times weaving in and out, like I'm treating a person right now who's like, but have I done everything?
Mhm.
You know, his mom's getting to a place of she's getting much older. So he's getting this existential guilt because she could pass away. And I just remind him, if you think you haven't done everything, let's do the everything.
Yeah.
And what happens is he backs away from it. And I'm like, so what do you think you're backing away from? He's like, it feels dangerous to do anything else. I said, what does that danger tell you? How did you come to feel that this was dangerous? You didn't teach yourself that. Her actions, all the things that she's done have taught you that she is unsafe,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of our parents make us feel so guilty that we would never have the courage to set these types of boundaries. But that stuff wears out. There's a
Yeah.
bandwidth to what we can tolerate that way, and they test it.
Yeah.
And we don't think it will break because we've had an an unconditional tolerance to their disrespect.
Yeah.
And they don't think it can break because we have had an unconditional tolerance to their disrespect. My body just knew. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, if I'm going to start getting abused over just the way I walk, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think all of those emotions kind of operate together, but it's a beautiful operation. I've learned so much from my guilt.
Yeah.
Most of it was maladaptive. I was feeling guilty for things I did not do wrong
Yeah.
because they taught me that.
I feel like all toxic or abusive parents, it's like they all read the same manual, even though they never picked up a parenting guidebook. I don't know where this
Well,
manual, if
now
it,
I've got your manual for
yeah,
healing.
yes, this, You Are Home is an amazing healing manual. Well, the next question I want to ask you, because I feel like this comes up so much in my comments, and this was a big sort of eye opener and heart opener for me, is that so much of healing from toxic families come with shame and self blame. How do you help someone separate what was done to them from who they actually are?
That's what I feel like this book does because it takes you through your emotional inventory. You
Ooh,
know,
I love that.
one of the comments I get the most is that's what you're doing. You're doing your emotional inventory, right?
Yeah.
You're doing checks and balances. And what people are saying to me in the comments or reviews is I did not realize how much of my pain I was not responsible for and
Yeah.
how much freedom that's giving them because
Yeah.
you have to go through guilt boxes, anger boxes, abandonment boxes, grief boxes. You know, I mean, I even have one part where you hang a sign on your door that says, don't disturb, grief
Yeah.
in progress. And there's grief on every floor because as we evolve, our grief also evolves. It's
Yeah.
not about getting rid of any emotions that you have. It's about knowing what you're responsible for, which is your own healing, and what does not have no business being in your basement anymore.
Yeah.
If you didn't do those things to you, get them out,
Yeah.
right? So it's been really a beautiful journey. This is how I healed my life. This is the work I do in my office. all of my clients speak the monster language.
Oh my gosh. I love that because
All of
I would
them.
love to be a client of yours. So if you're listening, this book is like being a client of Dr. Sherrie, like sitting in the
Yeah,
room
I
with
mean, I
her.
had a client come in, she's like, "Well, my anger monster got loose." And I'm like, "Oh, no." I'm like, "Okay, let's assess the damage. Did we break through the ground floor and crack that, or what happened?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, I think our foundation might be completely off balance now." I'm like, "Okay, let's go through it." And it allows them to laugh a little.
Yeah.
Like they're telling on themselves, "Okay, well, I kind of lost control of my anger." So I love that there's sort of the brain loves photos, the brain loves images and loves
Yeah.
pictures. And so I wanted to make this an incredibly visual experience so that they could, like, I know how my monsters look. They're like Monsters Inc., my
Yeah.
monsters. Like
Yeah.
they look like that to me. Now that I'm healed, I think before I was healed, they were so dark and so scary and almost
Yeah.
invisible and popping out of every corner. You know why? Because that's how my parents were.
Yeah.
So it's just such a healing way. I will give basement tours now, you know? You want to get to know me? Come in my basement. These are my shelves. These are my wounds and where this goes or that goes, all the
Yeah.
things. But I do think that when we heal, I had two very profound dreams within 3 weeks of each other, of one about my mom and one about my dad. And I realize now where I'm at, there is a stage after estrangement. Okay, this is all new for me, came from the dream, and I'm not usually a vivid dreamer, so they don't have any relevance anymore. They're
Yeah.
not relevant to my life. They're not relevant to my decisions. They're not relevant to my career. They're not relevant to my daughter. They're not relevant to anything. And that type of freedom, and I call that now self-integration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to teach at the CEU, is that there is a stage after estrangement, which is self-reconciliation or self-integration, where they're not even needed. I don't need them for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not relevant. I don't hate them.
Yeah.
I don't like them, but I love them.
Yeah.
But they're not relevant. They don't have any room or space in my life. And I'm very free in that way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this book helps you to be untethered from all the relevance that they've had for so long that was destroying you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your house now. They're not relevant in how you choose to decorate
Yeah.
or
Oh, I love
remodel
that.
or whatever.
I
Okay.
love that. I love this house metaphor. I'm telling you. I mean, you just keep going with it, and there's just more and more and more. I just absolutely love it. Oh my
Yeah. I mean,
God.
if I didn't have a page count, this book would have been quite a bit longer, which I wish it could have been.
I mean, it's just brilliant. Well, one thing I want to ask you, because when you were talking, I was thinking of my mother, who I think has been in therapy her whole life and just never changed. Like never, there was no growth, no anything, which is insane for me to even be able to comprehend. But healing is work either way. You either do the hard work and you grow, or you do the hard work of staying stuck. It's hard either way. Like,
Horrible.
I mean, when you're with clients or whoever, like, do you have clients that are still stuck? Like they're not cleaning out the basement. They are like, what does that look like? Why are they staying stuck? For anyone listening, even if mom, if you're out there and you're listening to my podcast, if my estranged mother's listening to my podcast, what causes people to stay stuck?
I think that they're incredibly attached to their sad story.
Yeah.
They love to tell it.
Yeah.
I never had that addiction, but there are people that are so identified by it that they love to tell the story, and they tell it everywhere they go and to everyone that they can.
Yeah.
And there's a payoff for it, I think. I think they get compassion, they get reassurance, they get sympathy. Those people don't tend to stay long in my practice because I don't want to stay stuck with somebody. And I ask a lot. I give a lot of homework. I ask a lot because I really want to see people heal. But yeah, I've treated many people that really love their sad story. And there are many, many, many therapists that will host those people because they're guaranteed financial security too.
Yeah. For
If you're
sure.
a really good therapist, you're going to have your lifers, because there are certain people that just really love you and they love the
Yeah.
coaching and they love
Yeah.
the whatnot. But if you're really good, your people are going to really work hard. That's not that it makes it high turnover because I don't have high turnover. I have a lot of lifers,
Mhm.
but they eventually turn from therapy into coaching.
Yeah.
And then it turns into manifesting and it can turn into all kinds of other things that I have to offer outside of this. But they can't get to the top floor working, for example, manifesting, goal setting, and all that, because I'm very entrepreneurial. I also wrote for Entrepreneur Magazine for 5 years. I was one of their top writers online. So I have a whole other gift to me that I've never shared really. And the top floor is all about that. And there's terror on the top floor because you could be living and manifesting your incredibly best life and then something triggers you and you crash into the basement. Like I
Yeah.
was just in Maui and I've always had this anxiety Sunday to Monday to go to school, any type of Christmas vacation back to school, summer vacation back to school. I still have that. I'll go on vacation. I get all this anxiety to go back to work. So I have to go down to my basement from my top floor and be like, okay, so who's up? What monster is running around right now? Okay, so we have the fear monster. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's little Sherrie having some kind of a wound that if I'm not totally in control and on top of my game and working 24/7, my life will fall apart.
Yeah.
Right. So there's those aspects of my life that I still have to nurture. So I can go from my top floor. You have a little express elevator in the house
Yeah.
and you kind of crash land and the doors open. And I'm like, oh, good, my fear monster. And you're hanging out with abandonment today? Okay. And stuff. Okay. So you're always doing the work. My confidence includes I've come to love all my monsters.
I
They're
love
my
that.
greatest guides. Honestly, they're my greatest advocates. They can really be. I've got a new puppy, so we are wanting mommy.
Aw.
um, this is my Daisy.
Hi, Daisy. Oh my.
So I do feel that loving your monsters is important. You're never going to get rid of them. The way the brain is, and I kind of describe this in the book, we have an amygdala and hippocampus.
Mhm.
The hippocampus kind of stores our memory, and the amygdala is the emotions attached to those memories. So when we're reactive, those are our monsters. Okay. And those monsters house our memories. And so unless we go lobotomize those things,
Mhm.
they're going to always affect your top floor experience, your middle floor experience, your porch, your yard, your fence, your barriers, all the stuff outside, all so that we can continue to grow. Our monsters are like the house alarm system. When someone wrongs us,
Mhm.
they'll pull the alarm. That's our body feeling something's wrong. We
Yeah.
have to do something about this. And typically they call us to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Confidence or wholeness is every ounce of every part of the house, including your insecurities and your fears and your sadnesses and all of those things. Those things make you whole. They're all a part of what make you confident, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So
So well said. And I feel like this is a great reminder for everyone that's listening. You can be healed, but still have to go down to the basement. So everything, you know what I mean? Some people think that like you're healed and like you're living on the top floor, like you're in a one-story house now, like there's no more, triggers and then if they get triggered, they think, "Oh wow, I'm not healed. I'm still this, I'm still damaged." I'm still
yes.
so what you just said is just such a great reminder that occasionally you sometimes you're going to have to go down to the basement and
Well, and
it's
I think that
okay.
we probably spend, and including me, I still spend more time on the bottom floors. Getting to the top floor is just a treat.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because my basement was so heavily loaded with so much trauma. So
Yeah.
when you're up there, I say in the book, you're never going backward.
Yeah.
You're only going more inward. If your monsters are triggered, you have work to do.
Yeah.
Be grateful that that's there. You're not going backward. You're not regressing. You cannot. And
Yeah.
whatever you do in the basement, you get to the top floor more quickly. It's a little more effortlessly. And up there, there's boxes of dreams
Yeah.
that you never got to look at. And when I'm up there, I'm like, oh my God, what if the bottom falls out? Well, it does. I end up on the express elevator at some point, and that's life. We have this idea that, oh, this too shall pass only when we're down,
Mhm.
but the ups pass too. So if you can get used to this too shall pass sort of everywhere, I think that the maybe the shock, you won't crash land as hard into the basement every time. When I'm going inward or downward, right? I know there's lessons there. I don't always look forward to them.
Mhm.
But once I'm in them, I look forward to them. Once I'm in my basement, I'm like, oh yeah, there's my little couch and my journal writing table and I forget that I'm safe in here. The elevator ride down, I'm like, I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down, but we have to. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
That we go down, and it's okay.
It's okay. So well said, Dr. Sherrie. I want to thank you so much because this book, everyone that's listening, go to Amazon, get your copy. You Are Home. Heal from family trauma, establish boundaries, and find a place of peace and safety. I mean, this is one of my favorite books, and you just can't get enough of the home metaphor. So I want to thank you so much for your time today. As always, I'm so grateful for all that you do, all that you write, all that you share, all that you have contributed to the community of cycle breaking and healing and coming from a toxic and abusive upbringing. So where can everyone find you?
DrSherrieCampbell.com. You can find me at Dr.Sherrie in social media, or apparently you can find me on the back of my floor after my chair tips over. Whichever way that you want to find me, you can find me. So,
episode ever.
Best episode ever. And it just shows you don't cry over spilled milk. Laugh. That was the funniest shit ever that I tipped over in my chair with pajama bottoms and a business top on the podcast. I fucking love it. That's just life.
You.
I'm going to laugh so hard when we get off the show. I'm dying.
I'm going to send you the clip of the video. Oh my God, this is amazing. I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad the doggies are okay.
We're okay. Everyone's okay. Oh my God. Wait till I tell my fiance is going to be like, no, you did. I'm going to be like, I really did.
Well, I adore you, Dr. Sherrie. Congratulations on this book, baby. It's called You Are Home. And everyone go grab a copy. You will not regret it. This is going to be, I've actually read it 2.5 times. I'm almost done again.
The Audible comes out June 30th. That's something new.
I can't wait to hear you and your voice to going through these floors of this house. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, you're going to just love it. It's funny, the engineer in the middle of it, he didn't say much. And then we were walking out to have lunch. He goes, whew. He's like, I'm a fan. He's like, I see so much of myself in your work. And I was like, that's really great. I love that. So I just want everyone to have a real shot at happiness and a shot at freedom and a shot at these people having less relevance to dominate your self-esteem, your identity, your life. You deserve so much more. And you're so loved. And for all of you listening, we love you. Thank you for listening and for enjoying me tipping over in my chair and having a great show. And I love you to death. You're one of the best out there. You're just one of my favorite people, and I'm always so honored to come on your show.
You're going to make me cry because I love you so much and I hold you in such high regard. You're just an amazing human being, an amazing woman, and it's just an honor to know you and have your time. So thank you, Dr. Sherrie. You are a true gem, and I appreciate you so much.
Love you, honey. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Surviving Roots. I hope it gave you something meaningful to carry with you. Let's keep this conversation going. Find me on Instagram at cari.fund, where I'll share more from the show. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs it. And remember, we are the choices that we make.